วะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ Good evening friends in the Dhamma. Good evening Ven Panyavaro. How are you today? We are good. What did you do today?
I sat a lot and I walked a lot. I stood a lot.
Yeah, you do a lot, sat a lot, yeah. Well, we are here together today with the idea of the what you call happiness, isn't it? Happiness of life or happy day, maybe. So I would like to let our friends who are in our contact know that we are going to spend our time to look at the question maybe the people like to ask and then think, okay, what can we do about this? Today we have a lot of people who listen to the program in this evening chanting, about 21 people. Yeah? How did you respond in this the day that we spend? What is can you tell us about the program throughout the day? At least people here they can understand the monk life a little bit, temple life. Yeah.
Was the usual morning chanting and breakfast, and then a retreat started at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
I thought originally maybe one person, but we.
How many people turned up?
Maybe 7.
Yes.
Or something, right?
Yes, it's quite good, yeah.
And it was quite good. So we started at 9 up till lunchtime, and then again in the afternoon till about 3 or 4.
Right.
In total. So it was quite nice to just do a meditation, see what was in the mind, and
right. It's very good, isn't it? Yeah.
Just relax a bit. And then the evening chanting.
Yeah. It's a lot.
And the monk chat.
Yes, the monk chat now. Okay, good evening, Kun Wood, Nit Woodley. And I'd like to say good evening, Kun Pakong Si, Chayapan. Yeah, it's very good. And I think this lady, her name is Jessica. Good evening, Jessica. I think she's Jessica here. So that's very good. So I would like to say hello to Venerable Panyavajiro. Where is he now? Oh, Francesca.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you see me? Can you? I'm here. If you can find me, yes.
Oh yes, it's very good. Very good. Okay, now I can invite him.
You can find me.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Very busy, but very well.
Where are you now?
I'm in Poland. Only after 3 children and a very large dog.
Okay. oh dear.
What?
What about their parent? What happened?
Yes, well, I may be interrupted. No,
okay.
When I arrive, every adult runs in a opposite direction in order to
run somewhere
to be free of children.
Kun Van Visa say good evening. Okay, that's the lady who used to be a nun now. Anyhow, so before I take you on board, I would like to come to the story over here. I would like to ask you a question from time to time. Make sure that you have your device working because your sound it seems not that clear. Yeah, maybe your internet problem. Yeah. Anyhow, so thank you, Panyavajiro. Now we got Panyavajiro here and Panyavajiro there. And today is a long day meditation, long day silent retreat. And I would like to take any question. Our friend there have any question to ask? It seems nobody have answered question yet. What happened? Okay. I think the question that we might look at it might about the about our monk life. Okay. How you feel as a monk? Are you all right? anything that the people like to ask the question? Now the question from whom? Or from Riz. How do monks overcome life's suffering?
We just enjoy the suffering.
Okay. How you how responded? I asked Panyavajiro first. Panyavajiro, how you deal with this? The question.
Well, I guess what I've learned is I'm able to sort of accept the suffering better.
Right.
And sometimes even enjoy it.
Enjoy suffering. You can't enjoy suffering, can you?
Well, you know, it's a bit easier with the monk life, I think, and then with the sort of understandings of the Dharma, Buddhism, and then with the meditation practice, the mind's just a bit more kind of flexible, I think.
Learn to understand things and be flexible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And that is how you feel. I mean, do you manage to overcome anything which is sometimes the reality is a suffering is a normal, either monks or the lay. Suffering is there, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the time. Well, when Panyavajiro respond this question, please?
I can if you want me to. Can you hear me? I can hardly hear you two, so I don't really know what
just say so.
I don't really know what Martin said, but how do monks overcome life's suffering? Well, monks join a thing called the Sangha. Once you've joined, the work that you do on a daily basis gives you a sort of set of works to always be able to think about. They're the same all the time, but nevertheless, it's something you have to do. Make breakfast, get up, make breakfast, do the chanting and whatever else. It's a very sort of regularized life, and that gives the opportunity to change yourself. Really, it gives the opportunity to start understanding. I mean, really, you're starting to understand the Four Noble Truths, believe it or not, because everyone in the Sangha belongs to the Buddha's Dhamma. The way of thinking is the same or very similar. Everyone thinks in a very similar way. Everyone is always encouraged to be satisfied with what we've got, and be happy with each other's company. And by being happy with each other's company, you gradually learn, well, you actually forget to crave after things. Yes, you do gradually forget to crave after things. And therefore, you're learning one of the first tenets of the Four Noble Truths: reduce your craving. It's perfectly normal and natural to crave after just about everything. But when you're in the Sangha itself, the whole atmosphere is one of not doing that. The whole atmosphere is one of being satisfied. We suffer, being satisfied, just the same as everyone else. But the reality is that the constant contact with the monks and their belief that craving is a bad thing, and therefore it dies out, just in constant contact with those beliefs is enough to change any one person coming in, I would have thought. It even changes me a little, and that's a great deal of difficulty. But it's a fact of life. The Sangha as a group work together, live together, are loyal to each other to quite a big extent, much more than you might expect. And they're satisfied with their lot. You go off and meditate and you come back satisfied. You do a job of work. You're really meditating during that time. You're enjoying what you do. You're living in that moment. Whether you really want to or not, you still are doing it because everyone else is doing it. So these things, well, to put it bluntly, rub off on a person. So you gradually become more satisfied with your own lot. Anything else you want to say about that?
That is very good point that you mentioned about harmony in, and then how it can be overcome the suffering. The question here, personally, I think after being a monk for some year, I think the life suffering as a monk life is quite different from day-to-day things that we may say. For example, the life suffering, monks suggest the people or help the people to overcome their suffering. If you are create more of your inner peace, or if you more being kind and good with your thought toward the people, and then you have kindness to the people, and you smile to the, and then you have anything that you feel is very another word like a positive, then we got a lot of positive thought, and then the suffering will be less because you have more of a good thing inside. And then if you look at the good, the bad thing, and then Venerable Panyavaro say sometimes you have to take this lady say here is the case of understanding suffering is such a way that we can let go. Well, yes, that's it. Festiga say that is a suffering that what the monk life or the lay person life exactly are the same, but the monk have more opportunity of learning and don't have much of the what you the lay life or similar like lay life. So more or less we have to have so many duties in different way, isn't it?
I see. One thing that pops to mind is, first of all, there's rules for things that we have to avoid, and it sort of keeps you in a certain boundary, and you've got less things to attach to in a way, and that sort of keeps you safe from a lot of things in my eyes. That if I wasn't a monk and I was out in the world, then there could be a lot of other things that I would add on to my life that might give me pleasure for
short time,
but then after that I'm craving and I'm suffering because of that craving.
Right.
And then that's like an endless cycle basically that's hard to get rid of.
Yeah, yes, I agree with you, because the monk's life are limited area for there to practice, but the layperson life, even the same suffering, but they seem have more thing to carry, more thing to consider, and more responsibility for life in different way. And what about Panyavajiro? What do you think is to overcome this suffering is your?
Well, I've got to go back. I mean, yes, you're quite right that monks are able to learn a great deal more, but because they spend much more time learning the Dhamma and practicing it. I mean, that's what a monk's life is about. That's why you don't have to go out and work in other ways. Your work is always to become better at understanding the Dhamma and practicing it. And the practicing it, of course, takes much more time than just picking up a book and reading it. So it's the practice that really counts, and that's done all the time by monks. That's their job, practicing the Dhamma, practicing meditation, so they become very good at it. But it is also the fact that each monk is surrounded by other monks and their ideas and their ways of being, which does rub off on you. It does make you a different person because everyone is happy all the time. And yeah, the suffering comes along, but you face it with what we call fortitude. You face it with strength, and strength in knowing that these things are all impermanent, even suffering. Everything's impermanent. So knowing it and actually practicing knowing it, there's a big difference between knowing what it means and actually knowing it, knowing impermanence.
That's very good, Panyavajiro. Sorry to disrupt you.
It's all right. I'm used to it.
This because I think the monks deal with their mind more than something else. Yeah.
Or more than the average person. The average person's got a living to earn, children to look after, goodness knows what.
Yeah, it is very, very good because this is, you see, when you have opportunity to do something like meditation, I think the monks and the lay people, they are the same, because if their mind is very good in meditation, they will be very, very, in a certain area, they feel similar. So here, so what is more important is the food put in your body and or mind. Now you see, look at the food or mind. Now it's very good, isn't it?
That's a misnomer of a question. I would say that food and mind food are complementary. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a starving monk who could think well. So no, they're complementary, and I don't think you can say which is more important. I think they're very important. Both of them are. The fact is that monks spend a great deal more time working with the mind than the average person does. Well, working with it in a direction, in the Dhamma, the direction of the Dhamma. So working with it, with the Dhamma, they spend a lot more time. And I think that you can't separate them. They're complementary. Without food, you can't have thinking, not good thinking anyway. So they're both very important. It depends on the person as to what they actually focus more on. I mean, monks definitely focus more on the mind than they do on the food. But then food can be a very pleasing thing if you go for a nice meal at night with your friends and family or whatever, so it is a slightly different thing.
Well, it's very good, Panyavajiro. Well, you see, could need also ask a question, what benefit you get from meditation? It's the same as the question is the body and mind, isn't it? So the food, the food that we need for our body, meditation is the food for our mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So we need both, and you can't compare between you eat of the food for your mind or food for your body. So you have to be balanced. Yeah. Then another word, if for the body, we live in the world, you live to eat, or you eat to live.
You you definitely eat to live.
Oh, I like to live in the world to be able to eat food. What do you think?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that you eat to live. You have to eat in order to live.
That's right. You live to
but
eat.
In living, then you can decide: are you going to live a lay life and do all the thinking that's required of that, or are you going to live a monk's life and do all the thinking which comes through meditation?
Yeah,
and practicing the Dhamma.
What about your Panyavaro? How you look at this? Your idea about this?
I would say with the mind coming first, we can learn the healthiest foods to choose. So, I mean, if we get more knowledge, we can understand which foods are good and which are bad, and how much of each is suitable.
Okay.
Hydration, everything like that. But I do believe meditation is very important. Yeah, so healthy body, healthy mind. I think you need like healthy food and healthy sort of schedule, some meditation, do things that you like to do, and learn something that's going to benefit.
That's very good. Yeah. So we are in the real world. We have to put ourselves in the right, the right society. What the society they do, we involve ourselves to put the people in the society in the right track. Sometimes they do something more than the monk life to understand why they do that, why do that, but to put them to understand a quality of living, which is meditation, for example, or teach them how to live happily. They might have different idea, like material world and spiritual world. It can be different all the time. It's not the same. So, and this one, quite question from somebody else about eating. Uh, why do you eat before noon and don't eat till the next day? ah, ah. Okay, I told it because it's better to answer the lady. Otherwise, misunderstood. Somebody the other day they said I eat because of that, because of this. Actually, we follow the tradition of the Buddha, and the Buddha have we learn from the Buddha life. Then we follow the Buddha path. Especially, we have to rely on the people who sponsor or offer food for us. I think a morning and lunch is more than enough. Otherwise, the people have to do cooking, doing for you. That is the first thing. You can see, you can disturb the people because our life rely on the people. Secondly, if you eat too much, that you enjoy, yeah, this is enjoy, yeah, enjoy eating. The monks, not meant to be when you become a monk. If you can't bear to stay fast, yeah, you're overeating or something like that, not very good. So many people can't stay as a monk because they cannot stop or cannot follow the rules, you know, of eating in the evening. So that also not very good. So better to eat in the right time. So the right time for this monk is follow the Buddha teaching. We eat only 1 day, 1 meal a day. Yeah, Kun Bakongsi, it is good question because a lot of people ask me that because of that. That's very good. So no need to worry about that because we follow the Buddha teaching, and the monk have their life rely on the people. Especially, we have the rules, which is very good. If you ask why another religion they are fasting for 1 month, yeah, the people they have 5 rules, 8 rules, yeah, the 8 precepts, the monk precepts, the novice precept. But if you the a lay person, you can eat 24 hours.
I've got 2 things that
Yeah, okay. Can you add on that? Yeah.
Yeah. 2 things that pop to my mind is first of all the being able to control the cravings. So basically like not indulging in your taste all day, having that sort of break where you can sometimes in the evening you might crave something like chocolate or whatever, and then just watching that instead of chasing after it. And then the other thing is about health. So the Buddha was recommending 1 meal a day for good health to avoid illness.
Mm.
Yeah.
That is very good. Now we have more questions asked. This one is quite important. This question I would like to look at how can families grow their families connection. This is quite good because Panyavajiro, he is in Poland now, and he might be the right person to answer question. But however, we look at the monk's life, grow their family connection. When monks leave the family, you left your family completely and no connection. But after that, you got your connection. And most of the people who support you and come to be part of your connection. But this one, how can family grow their family connection? This is in general, not just the monks. Nothing to do with the monks. I mean the Dhamma. So I would like to ask opinion from Panyavajiro. A
Yes.
connection between the family. How you can make it, because you are only one person ever I met in my life. My life. I've been here in this world up to I am now 60 to 61 years old. Hardly to see anybody who the family man who live far away from the children, his sons and his whoever, have connection and talk to each other. Yeah, through up to now, he's 78 years old, 79-year old. So if you are a person who have this kind of connection, is with very good for if somebody can be say, well, it seems that you never grown up your children. It seems never grown up. You never let them free or independence in somebody, like someone who stay at home since they were young up to they grown up, and then they never leave the home, leave family. But this question grow their family connection. That is important connection. So can you say anything in this area for answer this question, Panyavajiro?
It's a very large question. I can think of several things. When your children are adult, trying to baby them or tell them what to do or give them advice that's not asked for causes a lot of problems. We as a group share the difficulties and the pleasures that each of us come up against, even though they're separate. I mean, my one son and I have been talking about him changing his work from one particular sort of thing to another sort of thing, but we discuss it. Not, I don't tell him what I think he should do or shouldn't do. We just discuss it and help him speak out loud his thoughts so that he can make them stronger and consider them better. So we talk about this change in job, and it's a very big change, in order that he can think it through for himself. I do not suggest that this is the way to go or that's the way to go. So you have to admit to yourself as a parent that your children are suddenly adult, have minds of their own, and you all that you can do then is show them your loyalty and show them your concern for their welfare and their children's welfare too, but not by being critical at all. I wouldn't dream of criticizing, well, anything actually. It's their life, their way of being. They have different ideas to me quite often. So no, the last thing that I would do is criticize, because I'm only criticizing from my point of view, and my point of view is not their point of view. So all I can do is to help them think it through. And because I only help them think it through, they will call me and say, this is going on. What do you think? And I never think anything. All I do is ask questions and draw out what their thinking is, so that they can think it through more efficiently than they would without my questioning. The other one has very different ideas. I mean, utterly different. So I've got two completely different personalities on my hands, and it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. There's no critique from me. I hear people criticizing their daughters-in-laws, sons-in-law. Worst thing you can do. But people do it. All I think is there's a great deal of to be said about loyalty in the family, and it doesn't matter what age they are. I mean, I've got three boys here, aged 3 till 8, and they're boys. They're not the easiest people on the planet to deal with, but you don't lose your temper. You don't threaten them.
Yeah.
I don't punish anyway.
To do it, yeah.
Pardon?
You manage to look after them very well.
Well, I've asked them, because I'm doing this, I've asked them to be quiet, go into one room, and the littlest one is downstairs watching some thing on the television. The other two are using their computers. And as you can tell, up to now, it's been quiet, so quiet that I had to walk along the corridor to see why they were so quiet, because that can be a sign of trouble. Even the dog has stopped barking for a little while. So it's a matter really of considering each other properly. I mean, that's what love is all about, actually. It's considering each other's feelings, not making them worse, not criticizing each other, just as the Sangha, I mean, if you look, as a guy got to do a job and it doesn't suit him, one of the monks can't do a particular sort of job, people don't go, oh, you're a bad monk and you should be this. No, they say, well, that's not what he does. He does this sort of thing, and no one criticizes him.
Right.
No one.
Wow, it's very good, very good. Well, this question is very good because you answer very well, especially it's a personal information and also the background of your connection. Visit I at the beginning I said because you have good connection with your children since they were young up to they grown up, they have and then you have good connection with them all the time, especially you talk to them daily since your contact with the temple 10 years ago up to now. Not single day that you don't talk to your sons.
Well, no, we always have something to say to each other. That's why their lives are so different and there's so much going on that there's always something to talk about.
Did you talk? Did they how they feel that your anybody different idea of you being a monk and talk to them and all of this? Do they royalty and respect or give the credit, anything like that? Because at the beginning, you said they thought you are mad.
Well, in the beginning, yes, they thought I was mad. The one here in Poland is deeply into martial arts, and Buddhism takes a big part of that. So he understands a great deal more than the other one, who has his feet firmly placed on the ground, and he earns money.
Right.
And yes, he earns money, and he's very solidly in the world. So he might easily have criticized me pretty badly for a long time. But when I arrived at their house first time, dressed as a monk, he said something like, it's normal, to his daughter. So he didn't actually react in the way I thought he might do. So,
right.
Not so bad.
That is very, very, very good. Now I got another question that arrived. How can children keep their dreams alive?
Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
These are such difficult questions.
That is very good, very good. Yeah.
Well,
because it's quite good because you have your children and
well,
you know for well that your children grown up now. Do you have any idea that how this your children have any idea of their dream and their dream is still exists, especially the family life or anything? As a father, how you let them be in their direction because you put them in the right place and also supporting them and talk to them daily. And all of this, I think, apart from that dream, your dream too. So what exactly you can make them or keep their dreams in stay still in the direction that they want to be?
well, you know, I brought up more than just my own two. I've got many foster children, many foster children who are all adult now. The youngest being probably 24, 25, and the oldest being in his mid 60s. And the vast majority are successful people. There's some extraordinarily successful. My oldest, Stephen Anthony Blackwell, he is a very wealthy person living in Harrow. And when we met, he was a very naughty boy, being referred to a psychologist to me. So there, what it seems to me to be education in the family being keen on education, the family being keen that their children should achieve, asking their children what they've done and if they know things, what they know, encouraging them, in other words, to educate themselves as best they possibly can. And that doesn't mean going to university. That means educating themselves as best they possibly can. A good trade is just as good as going to university. It depends on the person. A good trade can give you a very good life indeed. Thank you very much. And that's what I've always tried to do, is encourage the children as they're growing to educate themselves. Their dreams change as they become older and more understanding, more knowledgeable about the world. And gradually they get a dream that that they can carry through because they've been encouraged to educate themselves in that way. Again, criticism is the least good thing. It's a very bad thing. You have a child who wants to be, I don't know, a bricklayer, a plumber, I don't know, all sorts of things. And you have to recognize that that person has got their own mind and let them get on with it. In fact, more than that, encourage them to get on with it. It's education, however you look at it. So I am a great believer in education. Today, it's more and more necessary. I mean, you can belittle a plumber if you like, but the work has become more difficult. They can't do things like I used to be able to do, like connect lead pipes and things, but there's no need for that. The situation has become, the job itself has become more difficult, more technical as the decades have gone by. So
that's very good. Yeah.
There's no criticism.
Well, I didn't disrupt you again. And I got the message from Reese, who used his girlfriend Facebook. His girlfriend is a Frances Kristen Maxwell. So Reese, he put this question for you to be for the monk to answer.
Well, it's a very difficult question. I could spend the week.
Answer my question. It's very good. Yes, he enjoyed it. Thank you very much. So I would like to ask the opinion of the question: how can children keep their dream alive? Because Panyavaro, when he was young, you have anything that you like to say when you were young about this kind of question at the school or wherever you think?
Me myself, I think I chopped and changed when they asked me what I wanted to do. Maybe every time was different.
Yes.
I think I remember one time saying I would like to be a fireman. So maybe I'm a fireman now, burning the
Burning kilesa.
get rid of the fires of passion.
Yes.
But when we visited the primary school,
Yes,
near Litchfield, and you asked the children what they wanted to do when they were older,
yes,
they seemed to know themselves perfectly well because every single child said something, and I looked at the child and said, you know, you in 10, 20 years, that role would fit you perfectly, like every single one of them. And I think the only reason why they wouldn't be able to keep that dream alive is if the world sort of bashed them around and said, no, bang on the head, you can't do that, do something else, you know. So if they're encouraged to do what they want to do and pushed in their own way and not told that they can't do it or they have to do something else, then I'm sure these dreams will come true.
right.
Yeah.
That is very good. Thank you, Panyavaro. You see, interesting the question been asked at that time, and now parent respond, and now the children seem they know their ways, they know their direction quite clear, and if they know for well they want to be, and then they walk along the step, like our audience here say, write it down what you plan to be, and maybe one day you can walk and to reach that your dream. Now we have more question from Reese. Can feeling good to clear our past traumas and negative mind patterns? That is very good question. Panyavajiro, can you answer this question for me? Because by saying that, because you are a psychologist, and then you are not only monk, you are expert in some area.
Don't say expert. We're all learning all the time with these things.
Yes, but you have experience
but
more
I
than
do
us
think,
in
you know,
some area. Yeah.
look, if you feel good, if you feel secure in your life, or becoming more secure, if you've got hope of good security, if you are surrounded by people who are positive thinkers, if you've got people around you, if you even seek out people around you who think good things, think positively, then you set a frame of mind going where you gain strength. Now you can go and you can meditate, and I'm not denying this. You can meditate, and because you feel better, you feel secure, you can close your eyes and know you're not going to be attacked physically or spiritually or whatever. You know, you feel good about that. So feeling good is probably a prerequisite. It's the first thing you have to do, is feel good enough to be able to look at these past events, put them in their place. They live in the past. They don't live in the present unless you're ongoing at the moment. And the future has never arrived yet. So there's nothing in the future except worry. You can worry about what might happen. But if you feel reasonably good, better than you did yesterday or last year, in other words, not brilliantly good, but just better, then you've set the scene for being able to help yourself overcome the difficulties that life has presented. So that I think, actually, I mean, let's just talk about the temple at the moment and the way that the monks can and do help. I mean, people come to the temple, they might be suffering traumatic events of whatever nature, but the calmness of the temple, the friendliness of the monks, the welcoming feeling that a person has when they walk in there, the good advice that is given, the acceptance of you as a person. You know, you're in the temple, the newcomer is accepted immediately, and then that newcomer gradually feels okay and gradually becomes able to talk about their difficulties, and then eventually, hopefully, meditate on them and find ways through those difficulties, realizing that they're not as bad as they thought, and they can change. Things can change for the better. And when you realize that there is hope, hope reigns eternal. If there's hope in your mind, then you've got a good chance of overcoming most of the traumas of today. And if they come from a long time in the past, then you've got to put them in the past and realize they are living in the past. There's no time like the present for dealing with them, because the present has no time. It's just then, at that moment. There's no future or any past. Just at that moment, it's just the moment itself. So you can actually understand that these things have happened, maybe why they've happened, maybe not bother, but have hope for the future and gradually build on that hope through meditation or whatever other means there might be available to a person. You know, prior to coming into Buddhist thought, I wouldn't have dreamt of meditating with people. I use talking therapy, where you can look at your problems, think them through, and find ways round them and rationalize them eventually, so that they become less and you become more in command. Well, meditation does much the same thing, you know. The people who learn to meditate properly become stronger, mentally stronger, and able to control the way that their minds travel, the direction they travel in. And the travel, whether you like it or not, is hope for the future. And yeah, you can call it enlightenment if you want to, but the truth of the matter is that on your way towards enlightenment, that's a long route, but you can become a better person, more able and stronger person mentally through meditation. There's no doubt about that. But I would not have used it in the past. No, I wouldn't have done.
Right. Well, that's very good answer again. I think Rich will be very happy with your question and with his question, with your answer, because every question that he asks is a direct, quite straight answer from you because of experience, especially what he just asked about your experience, and also the uh, the question of the feeling of to clear your mind of meditation, and after that you look at the negative thought in the past, and you say negative thought, we have to change it in positive, which is very good. And come to part of the how can people find and keep their happiness. This is another question asked by him. So I think better to ask Panyavajiro first, and then after that Panyavajiro can add on the top of that. Can we?
I'll go and look and make sure the children are okay.
Okay,
it's
then.
too quiet.
Panyavaro, can you answer the question before that? Okay, then. Thank you.
How can people find and keep their happiness?
Yes.
I've been on a bit of a journey trying to find my happiness and make it more last longer anyway.
Right.
Do things you're interested in. Do things that you like every day, and if you don't like them, then don't do them. I mean, I regularly do like a to-do list on a daily basis. Some days I miss out, but most days I've got a to-do list, and some of the things on the list I just enjoy doing, like my yoga asanas, reading, stuff like that.
Well,
So
that is opinion from that is quite big question to find their happiness, because the happiness is what exactly happiness that you're looking at. The happiness of what?
depends
What is the happiness itself that we are looking at the moment to the journey in Buddhism? It's happiness of mind, and of course happiness in, if you are feel content in your own life, your own life will be very good. Um, Personally, I came across with quite a number of the people who are very happy person, who been many years in this world, and I look at that person, how and why that person so happy, because they don't have a bad thought about the people. They never think about that person. On there is no jealousy in their life. They're not. I mean, everybody got a jealousy. They have jealousy inside, have defilement inside, but they don't show. They don't show their feeling that they, if someone become a success or anything like that, they feel very calm and think very positive and always smile. If you see someone smiling and very calm, very quiet, that we can see that person is already past the idea of being happy person. Most of the people I met, especially the one I have mentioned, um, because the kindness and happiness that you have, you may create from by yourself, and when you find it, and then how, and somebody also maybe get bored about their being, like the monks. Monks in they become a monks for many years. They study more and more and more, and then what happened after they finish their education, like university level undergraduate, and they might look forward to go to master degree, yeah, MA, and then and after they finish, they go even further to do something else. So if you have so many things in your life, and you get bored with that, and then you go further with the other thing. So you're changing all the time, changing many things in to suit your feeling and make you feel comfortable. That is my opinion in this area of how can the people uh, who become uh, success and be happy and find the happiness. You see, now the Kun Suriporn talk about Panyavajiro, your spontaneous, thoughtful answer and suggestion. This is Suriporn, and Kun John Minman is in London. John is the person who very happy to listen and talk and share his opinion in London. So you see, each suggestion from Panyavajiro and monks here, Panyavaro, and everybody here, that the English people and Westerner like to hear how you deal with your daily life in different area. So this one that we just talk is how can people find and keep their happiness. Panyavajiro, what is your opinion in this?
You may like this one, actually, just for a change. Well, I mean, one of the reasons that I came into Buddhism in the first place was, I'm going back to it, the Four Noble Truths. You know, ignorance of the Noble Truths, of understanding, craving, understanding it properly. Ignorance of this means that you're the same as everyone else. You let craving rule your life. You let looking for more and more all determine everything you do in your life. And it's only when you understand that that's the worst thing you can do, when you understand it, then happiness starts to permeate, starts to come forward. It's easier to be happy when you've learned not to crave so much. I mean, the Buddha taught the monks, the young monks, first thing that he demanded was that they understood dana, giving a little of what they've got to other people, not hanging on to every darn thing that they possess or have come near, and start to learn to give a little to other people, in order that they can start to control this craving, this need for things all the time, because it's a human trait. It's not, some thing that just is new. It's always been the same. It's all right. I've got children running in now. They won't stand for me much longer, I'm afraid. But you know, understanding the Four Noble Truths is primary. You could put it over in different language, but the reality is the Four Noble Truths actually show you the reality of the world and the reality of all of the things that determine your happiness in the world. So I mean, you accept that there is this dukkha, this suffering. You understand that it is there, and you have to know it's there. You need to, know that everything at the end of the day, whether it be a relationship or a possession, it's not satisfactory. It's dukkha. When you really understand that, then the value of these things starts to disappear, becomes less. And that's the first noble truth. You start to understand that they are less and less and less.
Yeah. That is very good answer,
You know,
for the ladies who like to know, and for the men who like to know. And when you found the Four Noble Truth in Buddhism and the problem,
it's
and sort
absolutely
out the
right.
problem and sort out the answer
You
in
know,
life.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you this: the monk. Look, I can't remember these names, but the monk was in Switzerland. One of your master.
Yes.
Very, 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 very powerful monk, very knowledgeable monk.
Yes.
Taught me about the Four Noble Truths in a hotel somewhere. I can't remember where.
When we visit
In a
him,
hotel
that's right.
room.
Yeah.
Huh?
When we went visit him in Manchester when he came and talked about the Four Noble
Was that
Truths.
where
Yeah.
it was? When he came and we talked about this, just he and I, and someone was massaging his feet at the time. He'd been walking too much. But now he's become something very senior in Thailand.
That's
But
right. Yeah.
he taught me these. Just reading them made me think. Initially, the beginning of all my adventures in Buddhism made me think, and it rationalizes. It puts them down. It puts down your problems in four noble truths. Bang, 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 bang. And if you practice these, if you learn them and feel them, let's just take the first one. I've just said that when you learn not to crave so much, you become a little bit, you give dana, no matter where the dana is. You learn to give dana, you learn to release yourself from this craving, this need for everything new and the best and whatever. You learn to remove it from your life.
Well,
so it's the beginning of a whole adventure. That's what it is. A whole adventure.
Right.
Of improving yourself and making yourself happier and everything else that goes with it. And no, I'm not going to be able to speak much longer.
Okay then. Well, thank you, Panyavajiro. Thank you that for
You're very
your
welcome,
time.
but I'm really going to have to go now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
night.
you very
Good
much
night.
for your time, and also I'll see you next week, and then we on Zoom again, and maybe whatever we got something to say, that's very good to get that answer from you.
Oh.
Right, thank you. Now he's off the line now. Thank you very much, Panyavajiro. And how can people find and keep their happiness? This is something what we learn from each other, and I experience I think if you have make yourself to be not get angry with the people, it will be very good thing, isn't it? Kun Suripon, she is come from Hampshire, yeah, and then I thought she from London, so Hampshire. Thank you that for your comment about the talk and also the answer by Panyavajiro and also John Minman suggest, and also very happy to hear Panyavajiro give the answer. Very short information. If you like to be a happy person, you have to think about how can we enjoy our life without any make any trouble for the people. So Panyavajiro, I really enjoy your explanation of suffering. Yeah, that's very good. Thank you, Kun John Minman. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now, in the last question, which is we got the time is nearly is the time is over now. I think we like to have so the last question with Panyavaro. The last question is how I would like to say, is inner joy, peace, delight, and happiness the same? Well, Panyavaro, how you feel? Inner peace, joy, peace, delight, and happiness the same?
Similar, but not the same, I think.
Well, that is very good. Yeah, it's very good to know that what is inner peace and inner joy in your opinion. Inner is inside, isn't it? When enjoy, yeah, and peace and delight and happiness. I think not only this word is in Buddhism. We have so many words for nirvana. This this is the meaning of the happiness. For example, happiness is the inner joy or inner peace. Peace is in very quiet, and delight is very, very, very. So all of them surrounded in the same area.
I think there all needs to be some contentment.
Yes.
For peace, you need equanimity, some sort of just, I don't really mind what's going on, sort of, that nice state of mind that's usual after a good meditation. Maybe like delight. I quite enjoy sometimes things that happen when the lay people come and they offer the food or whatever to the monks, but I can see that they get some happiness out of this, and I think that gives me delight and joy, inner joy, when I see the successes of the other monks. That gives me joy, seeing other people progressing and becoming better in their life. That's really nice. And then these all give me happiness over a longer time period.
So thank you, Panyavaro. Personally, and explain the meaning of each word. Is in your understanding is very good. And it's to me it's more or less like in the Buddhism we have the synonym of the Dhamma. Nibbana itself have so many meanings. Yeah. So the Buddha, the meaning or the synonym of the quality of the word that we use. Okay, Will, thank you, Will. Thank you. And then very good. Panyavaro here and Reese. Thank you very much. Reese, thank you as well, brother Panyavaro. Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for all of you who are here today. And we are here to answer the question. And thank you very much for Reese to keep this question for us to answer. That's very good. I appreciate that. And next time we're going to talk to everybody in different area. Whenever you will come next time, and then we're going to see the monk chat. we have this program and it can stay in YouTube. Is it very good? And I believe it's going to be maybe more and more to be the current question and situation which is happening in our daily life. Thank you again. May all of you be happy and stay healthy. With the power of Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, our the monks here would like to give to you and can please to put your hand and receive the blessing from the monks. อภิวาทนาสีลิสนิจจังวุธาปจายโนจัตตารโอธรรมาวัฏันติอายุวันโนสุขังภะลังโอเคสาธุสาธุสาธุ